welcome to In the Kitchen with Maureen Abood. I had to say that because we did this last week with my daughter and we just think it's hilarious. So it's In the Kitchen with Mary Mack. Today we're talking to cookbook author Maureen Abood. She's the author of Rosewater and Orange Blossoms, which is a Michigan notable book and an IACP award finalist. Her writing and recipes have appeared widely, including in the New York Times, the Washington Post, Saveur, Food 52, and NPR. She teaches Lebanese cooking through her popular website, maureenabood.com, and social media channels, including YouTube at Maureen Abood, which is an absolutely wonderful YouTube channel. So thank you for coming today and talking to us.
Thanks, Mary. It's so nice to be with you.
So we're going to talk today about the new cookbook, which Maureen is coming out with in October, Lebanese Baking. We were able to get an advance copy of it, and it is a beautiful cookbook with just wonderful recipes in it. So thank you so much for that. And what I want to know is, tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming a cook and a cookbook author and a chef and all the things that you are.
Oh, it's been such a wonderful journey filled with ups and downs. And I always cooked and baked from a very young age. A Lebanese family does that. For the most part, you're going to find cooking and baking happening in a Lebanese family. And all of my grandparents were immigrants from Lebanon. So we grew up, I was very much a Lebanese American, second generation, but we grew up enjoying all of these traditions and the baking and the grandmother Sitto coming over, making breads and baking with my mother. And I loved it. I loved that time in the kitchen. I kind of felt special, not kind of, but I did very much feel special because I had this sort of time alone in the kitchen with these women, and coming from such a huge family, having a little bit of me time where I got to learn and have special attention on shaping fatayat or rolling out dough or taste testing. This kind of ignited in me a real passion and love for being in the kitchen and baking and cooking. And I always was a writer also. As I progressed through my interest in writing, I was into poetry. My poems kept getting bigger and bigger and longer and longer. And I thought, I think I need to tell stories, and started to do that in writing about food.
Okay.
Well, I remember one of my professors saying to me, your subject matter has been handed to you on a silver platter. Now go, get into it. And I knew he was right. But with that said, I spent a lot of years doing other things, not doing exactly my passion. But in those years, I learned so much and had so many tools placed in my toolbox for future. So when I finally decided, I had been doing some freelance writing. When I finally decided I'm going to change my career path, leave my job in Chicago and go to culinary school, launch a blog, write the cookbook that I've always wanted to write, I had a lot of tools from my other experiences. And that's exactly what I did. I left my job, went to culinary school, and moved back to Michigan, northern Michigan, quiet zone, where I launched my blog and started writing about Lebanese food. And I loved culinary school. It was so much fun.
Oh my, that is wonderful. What a leap of faith. I mean, wow. And look where you landed. This is so perfect. I love the cooking, the family cooking. And I'm sure that was a large part of your growing up. Did you do like the whole family get together and cook on the holidays and things like that? Was that a part of your growing up?
Very much so. Big family gatherings, the kitchen being the center of everything, spending lots of time preparing. My mother was an absolute master of hospitality and warmth, and she did it so easily. You never felt like she never got flustered. She did her thing methodically and brought us all into it. She shared. She was not one of those cooks or bakers who thought it had to be so perfect that the children couldn't be involved.
Right.
She brought us in. And so we did very much have that growing up. And I think for me to then go through life and experience losses that, you know, the moms, the sitties, the aunts no longer being with us, I was even more ignited in my passion to preserve and connect and share these traditions.
Yes, that is, I love that. I feel like one of the best and most important ways to preserve cultural, ethnic, and family heritage is through cooking and baking, and especially with children. And I tell people that all the time, you know, if you're going to make bread, let your kids help you, because it doesn't matter. Flour sweeps up, you can wipe things off.
Right.
But that time is so important. You know, the tactile growth from that, just the smells and the taste and the touch and the feeling of accomplishment. And that's something I really feel like a person carries through their whole life. And like you said, you encounter hard times, and then it takes you back to those wonderful memories with your grandparents and aunts and uncles and family. And they just lift your spirit because you have that, I don't know, it's like a firm foundation in your soul, you know? And that's where I think that the cooking really comes into play, because you might not be able to see your mother or your grandmother, but when you cook something that they cooked, you can smell it. And all one smell and the memories just flood, you know?
They flood in. And you become so grateful to have this tactile experience to turn to experience that the memories, and to have making something with your hands.
Yes.
And remembering and creating, and it makes you feel proactive and like you're moving forward in the healthiest way that you can.
Oh, yes. Yes. I love that your recipes are it seems like it's a complicated thing, but your recipes make it simple. Like, not, well, I don't want to say easy in that way, but for a person to look at it and say, I remember having this in a restaurant and this recipe doesn't seem overwhelming. I think I can make it, you know? And that's what I felt like when I was looking at it, like, wow, this is doable. This cookbook is full of doable recipes. And even if some are a little more complicated, you can build up to them as you go along, you know? I really like that.
I think that's really one of the highest compliments I could receive, because I spent so much time and energy and creativity working on recipes to make them just that, accessible, doable. Some of them have a really long list of instructions, not to intimidate, but to really break it down.
Yes.
And be an empathetic recipe writer and developer, so that I'm thinking through now, what is he or she experiencing now? I've made this a million times. What's it going to be for someone who hasn't? And sometimes I reworked recipes that I've had in my kitchen for a long time, just because I thought I can make this easier for someone else. And then there are times when, nope, this has to be this, and we're going to get through it. And that led us to allocating plenty of space in the book for these process photos.
Yes.
That show your hands making, how to.
They're wonderful. That is such a great idea, because sometimes, I mean, with the age of the internet, there are so many bad recipes out there, which is why Anna and I started this podcast, because we were so tired of people saying, I tried to make this cake and it didn't work. Or so. I'm like, why would a cake not work? There's no reason, and then I look at the recipe they use and I think, well, okay, that's why it didn't work, and if you're a person who cooks and bakes all the time, you kind of begin to recognize, and you get to the point where you don't even need a recipe, but you can recognize if a recipe doesn't look right, if there's too much of something or not enough of something. But a novice or a person who's just beginning has no idea, and they just want to follow that recipe, which is, I told Anna, I actually made your pita, and I said, I knuckled down and followed the recipe exactly as written. And then
you didn't want to, but you did.
It was perfect. The dough, I did it by hand because I wanted to feel the dough. The dough, the amounts of ingredients was perfect. The dough was perfect. It was a nice dough. Just barely sticky enough, and just it kneaded perfectly, and they worked perfectly. And I said I didn't even have to add a little more flour or a little more water or a little more this or that. It was perfect. So that was very impressive, I have to say. That was very impressive.
Oh.
But I feel like this recipe book, I feel like a person who had something at a Lebanese restaurant and they say, boy, I wish I could make that. I feel like they could get this book and do that. They could get this book and make baklawa. They could do it, which I'm going to do.
Are you?
I want to. I've wanted to make it for years, and I was so intimidated because phyllo dough hates me. But the way you explain it is so good. I said,
phyllo dough hates
gosh.
all of us now and then. But right. This is the goal. And being able to make sure that you can have your outcome be just as great. I always feel bad when my readers and site visitors and people I meet, if somebody says, mine won't be as beautiful as yours, but I'm going to try it. And I think, yes, yours can be. And we're going to figure out how to make sure. And one of the things you said, though, that's really important is that you buckled down and followed the instructions and the recipe.
Yes.
And we all have this, we're busy and we think, okay, I got it. I got this. And you just kind of have a tendency, all of us, to gloss over something.
Yes.
But when we take our time and give ourselves the space we need to really be present to our baking.
Yes.
And read through the recipe. Yes. And pull the right ingredients together and say to yourself, maybe it's worthwhile getting that soft spatula out or that bench scraper out as it's instructed. And even weighing ingredients so that I have really the exact right amount. These things all contribute to success. And they're there for a reason, to help you be successful.
I love that in the front of the cookbook where you give instructions for using the cookbook. And I said, that's brilliant. To read through the recipe, make sure you have all your ingredients. And I try to remind people all the time, before you start this recipe, make sure you have everything and get it out and make sure it's good. It might be like so old. Get your stuff out and look, because you want to make this, you want to have a successful bake.
Mm-hmm.
If your yeast is old, or if your flour is, you don't have quite enough flour or whatever, you're going to try it anyway, it's not going to be a successful bake. So I did love that. I love that a lot.
I think if you don't have much time or your time is tight and you really want to make something, find a recipe in the book that fits with, or any recipe, not just my book, that fits with your time and ingredient constraint.
Right.
Instead of trying to make it fit with something that it doesn't fit.
In this cookbook, another thing I love is some recipes are just pantry staples. You don't even have to do anything special. And some recipes, you do have to do something special. And I love that on your website, you have a store that sells things that you need, because it is hard to find orange blossom water and rose water and good Lebanese olive oils, all those ingredients that you can say, like, you can make it with something that's not exactly, but if you really want to make it this way, here's the way to do it. And I really love that, because it's hard to find those ingredients. Anna and I were thrilled. Anna found za'atar at a friend of ours has an olive oil shop. So that's been that was an exciting moment, which is funny, but it was.
I'd be excited too, right there with the both of you, because I learned that long time ago. And that's really why I launched that shop with my first book. And just prior, everyone I would meet would say, what do you use? Where do I get the ingredients you're using? And where do I just get these really specialty ingredients, which are becoming more and more known, I will say, in grocery stores and in specialty shops. But my sister Peggy, who works with me on the shop, we really go hard to try to bring ingredients from Lebanon that are pure, natural, authentic, wonderful spices, olive oils, world class, by the way.
Yeah.
The olive oil being produced in Lebanon is world class olive oil. It's wonderful, made in small batches on small family farms. And that's really how all of these ingredients come to be in Lebanon. And so it's especially neat to use these products because they do come from there.
Yes.
And it's a taste of this place, this terroir, this community, but also it's just excellent, excellent product. The flower waters, you have to make sure you're using flower water and not extract.
Yes.
Which is a whole different experience.
Yes. And I love this. I have this mentality that you can travel through food. Like, I've never been to Lebanon, but I can eat Lebanese food and imagine being in Lebanon. And I'm a big fan of trying all different, like I've just done some North African recipes. I do a lot of Mediterranean and Middle Eastern and go around, and it's so interesting to me that when you go around the Mediterranean, North Africa, the Middle East, into Italy, Spain, they have this palette of food that carries from one country to another, where you have similar dishes. The ingredients are almost the exact same, except they may be spiced differently, maybe use different nuts or something like that. And I always feel like that, it seems so wonderful to me that food traveled, like somebody went somewhere and they took this, and this is the thing that they grasped onto. And then they went somewhere else and the food traveled around. So I feel like if you can't go to Lebanon, you can eat something from Lebanon. You can make food with something from Lebanon. And it's so interesting to me, especially I can imagine for first and second generation people. Where we live, we have a very large Lebanese, Syrian, Middle Eastern population, Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio. So we do have restaurants, and you can go to Pittsburgh or Youngstown and go to a Lebanese or Syrian store and get things. But a lot of people can't do that, So you can have the flavors of, we have the flavors of the world, I guess you'd say. But I love the fact that I believe you said that there are no English language Lebanese cookbooks. Is that right? Or there are very few English language Lebanese cookbooks?
There are. The baking in particular. And there are many, over the last few years, there are some really beautiful, wonderful books coming out with Lebanese and Middle Eastern emphasis. But this baking book that has the sweet, the savory, the yeast breads, the cakes, the cookies, that was missing from my shelf. And I really wanted that book for myself. And I felt like this could just do a lot for a lot of people who not only want to make foods that they've tasted before and baked goods that they've had at bakeries or with their grandparents, but also people who are generally, like you, interested in different cultures and their foods and their bakes. I have all of these baking books, Italian, Greek, all of the different cultures, and I love them. I love exploring. And so I hope that Lebanese baking will make its way onto shelves and into kitchens for that reason.
I'm sure it will. Like I said, it's such a lovely book. There's full page pictures of the completed recipes. Like every page you turn, there's a beautiful photograph there. And I have another thing that I really loved about this is you also have some recipes that you have given a Lebanese twist, or you have taken an existing recipe and like given it a new flavor. I was like, okay, the triple chocolate baklava is the one. I was like, holy cow. And then, you have some other ones there that I was like, there's a fantastic cookie that I can't wait to make. That's an apricot walnut drop cookie style that sounds delicious. How did you come about doing those? I mean, that's so interesting.
I have always loved mixing and matching the ingredients of Lebanese cuisine in new and exciting ways. And it really started for me when I was in culinary school. And I was learning about and being encouraged to do this. I remember standing at my stove with some strawberry sauce and thinking, this deserves a splash of rose water. And from there, throughout the early years and really all the way through on my blog, that was something that I was always striving to do, bring these ingredients to fruition in a new and interesting way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So in the book, I knew that I had to include all of the classics that I could possibly understand and know about and make, but then give myself that freedom to say, okay, we also want to have a Betlewa cheesecake.
Oh, yeah.
And a pomegranate mousse cake.
Oh.
And a riff on the viral Dubai chocolate bars with a Kanafi Kataifi cookie bar that is in the Kanafi chapter. These things, which I have so much fun with, and I could not limit myself to not having those in the book.
I saw those ones too. Those look wonderful. And then my other big thing that I love was at the end of each chapter, there is a little page that says something to drink. And I thought that was such a good idea. It's almost like, is that, first of all, I guess I would want to know, are those traditional drinks or drinks that you developed? And secondly, I love how they kind of go with the chapter. So that was very thoughtful.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that it turned out that way, because originally I had those in their own chapter. And this is where a good editor comes in,
Yeah.
And James was wonderful. And he said, how about if we sprinkle them throughout and show how they go with the recipes, which is so neat because this is how we enjoy and eat these treats.
Oh, yeah.
We enjoy them with something to drink. So having them interspersed is really neat. The recipes, some are classics like Arabic coffee, kahwe, which is like Turkish coffee, espresso style, very strong, small cups. And traditionally, this coffee is infused with cardamom.
Oh, yeah.
And so aromatic and delicious. And you can use regular ground coffee, but if you get a finely ground coffee, which you can do yourself in a grinder, even at the grocery store, when you turn the dial, there's usually a spot on that dial for Turkish grind, which helps you make this coffee in a pot on the stove. And that, with just about anything in the book, is a real treat. But some of the other recipes are these inspired, more innovative style recipes that I enjoy coming up with, like an orange blossom gin fizz.
Yeah, that sounded wonderful.
Oh, and you could make it non-alcoholic. All of the drinks can be enjoyed 0 proof, which is wonderful too.
Yes.
And the date shake is to die for. I put it with the sesame cookie and with really any cookie, but that sesame cookie, the barazak, is not a super sweet cookie, which is so enjoyable. And it goes great with this rich, thick milkshake.
Oh, that does sound, the milkshake was beautiful also.
Thank you. The photographer, I will say, the photography team was just crackerjack. They were so great. They came to my home, our house up in northern Michigan, and this was an effort. It's not that straightforward to get there. And they all assembled, the prop stylist, the photographer and her wonderful assistant, and my assistant, who happens to be my cousin, Celine, and my sister, Peggy, who helped with keeping everyone housed and fed. And it was so much fun. And I think the joy of that photo shoot came through in these photos because it's just light and airy and happy.
Oh yeah, the photographs are gorgeous. It's like I said, it's an absolutely gorgeous cookbook, and I think everyone should have this in their cookbook library, in my opinion, because there's things in there that you are not going to find anywhere else. So I highly recommend everyone to get Lebanese Baking, because it's just not only a beautiful cookbook, but an excellent cookbook for cooking.
Thank you.
Is there anything else we want to cover that we didn't hit?
Oh, I think we did such a good job. You are wonderful. Thank you. This
Oh,
was
thank you.
just
So are you.
great.
This is very easy. I was so nervous. So, okay. Well, good. We
You
both did
make it
really
easy.
well.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you've got this Lebanese community. And I'm starting to think, I know my mom's family is from Ohio, from Fostoria and Toledo
Oh,
and
yeah.
Niles, Youngstown. They used to go to Massillon like all the time to visit her relatives. And I still have a lot of family in Ohio. And I'm thinking, I should be getting down there your way for, a book signing.
Yeah, there's a lot of places around that you could do that. I think you would do really well. And it's so funny because it's one of those, like, the immigrant trail always follows the Rust Belt, So it runs from
Right on.
Pittsburgh right on up to Michigan, and that's where all the skilled,
Yep.
these skilled laborers not even skilled laborers, skilled workers who came over. My friend's dad came from Lebanon, and he was an engineer.
Uh-huh.
He worked in a firm in Pittsburgh, so that's an incredible history. But so the food follows,
Yes, yes, ma'am. That's really neat. That's really sounds, we all have some similar trajectories, and it is special, and they're there. I need to get that way.
I think it would be good. I think it would be good if you come. I'm coming.
Okay.
I'll come down and see you. So, okay.
Perfect. I would love that. That would be fun.
Well, thank you very much, Maureen Abood, for coming on our podcast today and being in the kitchen with Mary Mac. We had a wonderful time, and we wish you every success with your new cookbook.
What a joy to be in the kitchen with Mary Mac. Thank you.
Make sure to check out Maureen's cookbook, Lebanese Baking, More Than 100 Recipes for Sweet and Savory Baked Goods. That is coming out October 7th, 2025. For more info, go to maureenabood.com. Is there anything else you would like to promote?
I would love for everyone to check out the wonderful tools that I'm creating that will help you with your baking. And then on my site, I have a really nice listing of all of the equipment that I use in my kitchen that you're going to want to check out and shop.
Awesome. For Mary Mac Bakehouse, follow us on social media at Mary Mac Bakehouse and our website, marymacbakehouse.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you. That's our humorous ending to every podcast.
I love it.